Hello, YouTube family. Greg D here, back with another DCUO video. And today I wanted to talk about the hot topic. Let's review. We've had a full day to go through everything, so let's discuss the brand new episode, chapter, DLC, whatever you want to call it, Day of Reckoning. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly here. First off, the good. Okay. So, and just keep in mind here that this is my opinion. Your opinion may differ, but I'll be curious to see what you guys think overall. I've been seeing a lot of players in the chat complaining. I've been seeing a ton of people in the official forums on the DCUO website complain. So, again, good, bad, the ugly. First off, the good. Brand new map, brand new open world, looks great. Thank you, DC, for not recycling a different version of Gotham or Metropolis or Central City over and over and over again, like you have done in the past. The open world itself looks great. The fact that it's snowing, just in general, looks good. Everything that you play, as far as the new instances, is a brand new map, so that is great. Love it. No issues or problems there. Um, the bad, I will say, is okay. So first off, the introductory mission to the DLC here is super long, and I know that they wanted to add more like solo content because that's what a lot of players were asking for. But I think you made it a bit too long, or at least you could have like broken it up a little bit, because once you click on the story in your journal, come to Casnia City, and then you're literally playing the you're literally playing the introductory mission before you can unlock like the dailies or anything like that. You're playing that for like 45 minutes to an hour. I live streamed it yesterday. It took me like a solid hour to get through it. Now, granted, they are giving you loot drops at certain like points, like checkpoints, essentially. But I still think overall, the whole, and I know that they're very story based on this, and they're so excited about the story, but I don't think the story is necessarily good enough to kind of keep it going for that long. Like I said, I wish you would have like broken it up a little bit more, because it's pretty much like you go visit someone in the pub here, and then you go do a mission, pub, and then a mission, and then a pub, and the mission. That's kind of annoying, kind of meh. Um, Thankfully, though, once you do complete the whole mission, you do get access to the new OP piece, which is a face piece. So you'll come over here to the if I can get there we go.
Come, my
So we can come over
friend.
here
Feel free to
and
peruse my wares.
you can get the OP. Oh, wait, oops. So you can get like the OP piece over here. There's your augments, and there is the new OP piece. It is a face piece, so just keep that in mind. Level it up pretty much like all the other ones to this point. I will, and I forgot to mention this too. I do like the fact that in some of the missions, or at least in the story part of it, they did add some different mechanics and elements, which is nice to see. It felt like in parts of it that you're playing like you're in the Walking Dead type. It had like a Walking Dead type feel. In other parts, it was almost like an Assassin's Creed type feel where you had to be like stealthy to complete some of the missions. So that is definitely good. I like that. Again, I will say that the solo part itself is too long. Also, I will say that there's definitely glitches. Some people will say yes, it's it's the first day. There's going to be some tweaking, but it feels kind of like how episode 48 did, where like not necessarily everything worked for the first couple days when episode 48 dropped. It kind of feels that way again. So I would probably recommend DC that that's what test servers for, right? That's why you have it there for a week or two to kind of see these bugs, fix them instead of, just dropping a broken episode, broken content, whatever you want to call it. So again, it's just, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And then the whole tease by the creative director, most of us knew that we weren't getting a Blue Lantern power. There were a lot of people that were hopeful that we're getting a Blue Lantern power, but I'm sorry to burst your bubble. No Blue Lantern power. Blue Lantern, there's a Blue Lantern character as part of the story, and I think that's why they teased it. Maybe at some point here soon they drop like my mind went to maybe a Blue Lantern ally, like Saint Walker or something like that, or maybe like an artifact that's somehow related to that. That remains to be seen, but I'm sorry, people, no Blue Lantern power, no new power. As we know, the developers have said for many years now that's not a priority for them, so I'm sorry, but no new power. So the ugly part. This is very ugly. Never mind like the glitches in the open world with the bosses and the weekly bounties, and there's the gameplay of this new episode is just meh. It is meh. They're focusing totally on the mechanics, and again, I don't think that the story carries it enough to find the gameplay that engaging to do that. The biggest thing, though, for me is we have a solo, we have an alert, we have a raid, and then they reused the raid, the Neuron raid from episode 44 as part of this episode. Why? Why? We went 4 months between this content and Harley, the Harley episode, 48. You're telling me that you couldn't have come up with another raid? That, to me, just screams lazy. The big thing, though, is that the alert and the raid, and you will also notice you'll play this in the introductory mission too, these two things are the same exact thing. It's King of the Hill with an escort mission once you do capture and hold your tower, hill, whatever you want to call it. And then you escort ghosts essentially to the area where Felix Faust is, and Felix Faust is the only boss. And the mechanics are exactly the same. It plays the same way in the introductory mission when you do it by yourself, then you're doing it in the alert, then you're doing it in this raid. So literally three times, the solo, introductory mission, the alert, the raid, you're literally playing the same thing. Again, 4 months between new content, and you're reusing an old raid from one of the previous episodes, and all of this stuff is literally the same fucking thing. Pardon my French, but it is. It's the same thing, and that's terrible. And that, to me, again, just screams lazy. It's just not a good look. And honestly, DC, I hope, and I love this game. I have a love-hate relationship with this game. But I will say that if you do that again in the next episode, chapter, I'm afraid that you will be losing players. I'm just going to tell you now, because it was extremely annoying just to get through like the introductory mission. And I'm someone who appreciates solo content so that you're not always looking for a group. That's great. But break it up a little bit. Just break it up into like mini sections or something, just so that you're literally not having to play the same mission for an hour, which takes longer than most raids do at this point, to get somewhere. And again, I did appreciate the fact they broke it up, and there's checkpoints where you get loot drops, you get the currency, you get all that stuff. But again, the fact that we played all like the same thing for an alert, a raid, a solo, it's just lazy. I don't think that's ever happened before in this game. Like you had all this time in the world. You had all the time in the world to give us different content. Now, I will say the open world missions themselves are fine. They're great. No problems there. It's typical DC. You go, you beat some NPCs. You collect your loot box. You get your source marks. You get your currency for this episode. Fine, no problem. But again, I think that they were. I think they were so invested in like the actual storytelling of this chapter that they kind of missed the mark with the gameplay aspect. Now, the King of the Hill with an escort thing could have easily worked for one of those missions. Like if you would have just had us do it in the solo, or just had us do it in the alert, or just had us do it in the raid, fine. Absolutely fine. No problem. That wouldn't have been a big deal. But again, to use it in 3 times, and I know I'm repeating myself, but I just can't get over that fact that they literally used the same thing 3 times. So I will say overall, this episode, there are some good things to hope that they continue doing, like new open worlds, new maps, new characters, new mechanics. Like I said, there's a little bit of like a Walking Dead type feel, or like a Resident Evil type feel in some parts of the story. There's some Assassin's Creed almost a little bit in other parts, which is great. That's fine. Continue to do that, but don't give us the same thing 3 times, and don't give us recycled content and say, here, this is part of this chapter. Why? Just because Neuron is part of the story, you're going to have us play a raid from 5 episodes ago now? I mean, that's what, probably 2 years ago now? 3 years ago, right? So, I don't know. But I will say there are some good things too, now that I'm thinking about them. The event things to get these, like to get special rewards, like you log in every day, that's great. That's fine. That's awesome. Because a lot of times you can reclaim them for your other characters. That's fine. I like this new system. I also enjoy the fact that you can gain renown playing everything. Obviously, you play normal difficulty, you play elite difficulty, you're going to get more renown. But even if you play the casual stuff, the easy, quote-unquote stuff, you're still going to get renown, which means you can still get your elite gear. Another thing that I don't like is that you have to craft base items. Because as we all know, they always throw a feat in there that's like, oh, if you collect a certain amount of base items, you get a feat for that episode, right? But to actually have to sit there and craft things is kind of annoying, too. We should just be able to collect them. They should just be loot drops. But yeah, see, and that's all I can do at this episode is just sigh. I'm going to play it. We're going to roll through it. We're going to continue to level up our characters. But I think they missed the mark here. I think they do. There are, like I said, there's definitely some things that are good, that I feel like they improved on, that I can appreciate, but I think you missed the mark here. I think you need a little tweak here, DC, and I think you need to take what your fan base is saying and kind of implement that a little bit, because again, I've seen a lot of people in the chat over the last day say a lot of bad things. People are blowing up the forums about how bad it is, so I don't think it's terrible, but I think you could have done better, and I think you could have at least had it on test server for like a week just to kind of fix the bugs and not give us essentially like a broken thing. And again, I know it's just the first day. They'll go back and fix that. It's not a huge deal, but to some players, it's going to piss them off. So, yeah. So, with that being said, guys, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you think they could have changed? What do you think they did right? Let me know. So, with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more. And until next time, see you soon.